Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited that you are here today because I have something really special for you. This video is a fun collaboration with the amazing Crafty Hearts team featuring Chelsea, and I'm sorry Chelsea, I'm going to say this wrong, Voltsmorny, Julie Carrier from the Scrap Zone, and Amy from Paper Therapy with Amy. I'm truly honored to be part of this collab. These ladies are incredibly talented. So we came up with a fun challenge where we all used the same prompt word, love, to inspire our layouts. And with Valentine's Day just around the corner, it felt like the perfect choice. So today's project is a single page layout, and the prompt word instantly reminded me of this photo from a family trip to Mexico. I'll share more about this photo as we moved through the process. Since it's a nighttime shot, my first step is to select pattern papers that complement the tones in the picture. Something with a similar color palette, but not an exact match to the background. I wanted to create contrast around the photo to make the light stand out. To achieve this, I'll use a color with a similar tone and add vibrant accents to bring depth around the photo. I see a lot of brown undertones, especially with the wooden deck we're standing on and the tree branches around us. That brought me to the Country Woods DSP, which I absolutely love, and it pairs beautifully with so many different collections. So there's a lot of great options here, but let's focus on the brown tone papers. The first option is one of my favorites, but it's just a bit too dark for my picture. Then this one is way too light and doesn't really do much for my photo. This wood grain paper is definitely a standout option. It complements the background colors beautifully, matches the wood tones in the decking and the trees, and really helps draw the eye to the photo. I just love how the picture looks on it. And there is one more option to consider. It's a similar brown tone to the background elements, but I feel like the white distressing on it is a bit much and draws attention away from the photo. This is definitely the right choice. I also want to incorporate the Marbled Elegance collection into the layout. My shirt is hot pink, and I'd love to bring more attention to the hearts hanging from the tree in the photo. There are so many great patterns in this collection, but I'm looking for subtle patterns that will complement my photo and pair beautifully with the wood grain paper. I think this one would work well. It brings out the color in my shirt without overwhelming the layout, and that could be an option. But I really don't want to draw a lot of attention to just me. So I think I'll stick with a hint of pink throughout the layout with embellishments. Now the red version of that paper, or the red version of that pattern, looks great too. I would prefer to add red. This shade of red is nice, but I'm not sure about this striped pattern. It would compete maybe with the wood grain paper, and it doesn't seem to complement my photo very well. Now this tone-on-tone leaf pattern is lovely, but I prefer the deeper red, which I think suits the tones in the photo better. So I'll pass on that. So that brings me to the hearts. This is definitely the perfect choice. There are hearts in the photo. The red tones work perfectly with the wood grain paper, and I can definitely use more of this collection as I continue, but for now, I'm off to a good start. My plan is to create a frame style layout for this project. I'll add a piece of white cardstock for a few reasons. It provides a great surface to stamp on and helps ground the layout. However, I'm thinking this pattern paper might not be as noticeable as I want. So I'm considering swapping it out for cherry cobbler cardstock instead. Then I'll add the heart paper as an additional mat behind the photo or somewhere else on this layout. I only want a small 1/8 of an inch border of red cardstock to show, so why cover up all that beautiful pattern paper? Now that I have a clearer idea of my base, I'll go ahead and gut out the center of the wood grain paper and trim down the rest to size. I cut the red cardstock to 11 by 11 inches and the white cardstock 1/8 of an inch smaller on each side. I've already attached the two pieces together. This leaves me with a piece of wood grain paper to use as a mat for my picture. I still want to incorporate this heart paper. I'm considering layering it on the page or cutting it into a circle with my Cricut. Yes, I think I will do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut the circle to 8.25 inches and I like how this looks. Yeah, I think this could work. So I found these 3 rings on my desk and I'm wondering how this would look if I layer them around the outer edge of the circle to add some interest. I don't know. I'll leave it here for now and see how it looks as I start adding my embellishments. So my plan is to add hearts to the layout. When I purchased the Marbled Elegance paper, I picked up the whole suite, which included the stamp and die set. The die set comes with various heart sizes. Isn't this die neat? It cuts and embosses the pattern onto the cardstock at once. I love the idea of using different sized hearts and overlapping them, kind of like this. Then I'll add another heart to the right corner of the picture for another cluster. How would the biggest heart look there? No, I think it's too big, but this one seems like a better size. I'm going to cut a few hearts from the marbled paper as well as Melon Mambo pink cardstock to add that pop of pink I was talking about. I've got a variety of hearts in different sizes and patterns, and I'll place them loosely around the circle. They're not really standing out enough against the background though, so to give them some definition and to help them pop, I'm going to ink the edges with coordinating ink. Unfortunately, I don't own Melon Mambo ink, but I do have Strawberry Slush, which I think is a close match. I'll use an ink dauber for this. I just want something to kind of soften up the edges, but make them a little bit more noticeable. This picture was taken on November 11th in 2018. I am a bit behind on my scrapbooking, but in my defense, I don't scrapbook in chronological order. I let the paper determine the pictures I document, and in this case, a word. I'll just finish the rest of this off camera and I'll be right back. So that did the trick. I'm not fully committed to their final placement just yet, so I'm going to move on to another area of the layout. I trimmed the wood grain paper to 5.5 by 7.5 inches to create a larger mat for my photo, which was printed at 4 by 6. I'll add a white mat with a small 1/8 of an inch border around the photo to help make it pop. Normally, I print my pictures with a white border, but for this layout, I wanted the picture to take up the full space. For my title, I'm thinking of using Love Tree, which is the name my youngest son, Evan, gave the tree in the photo. So I thought that was the perfect fit. I did a little stash diving and found this stamp set from Close to My Heart called Hello Lovely. I think the word love will be a perfect fit at the bottom of the photo. For the word tree, I will use the Anthem Alphabet stamps. I enjoy mixing different fonts together, so this will work great. Now I can't decide what color for the word love. Should I go with red or pink? I'll stamp them in both colors and decide what I want to use after. Because I'm not stamping directly onto the layout, I want to make sure I get good coverage, so I'll use my stamp positioner for this purpose. I'll place a white piece of scrap paper into the corner of my MISTI using the magnet to hold it in place. Then I'll pick up the stamp with the door, add ink to it, and close the door. I think this is going to need a little bit more ink. Close the door. Yep, that looks great. I'll clean off my stamp and continue with the next color. Unfortunately, I don't have the coordinating thin cuts for this Close to My Heart set. I don't even know if it actually came with thin cuts. So I'll fussy cut the words out. I won't make you watch this part. I wasn't about to cut out the inside of the letters though. I don't mind fussy cutting, but that would be a little bit too much, I think. The overlap on my photo and mat with some of the white cardstock showing wasn't working for me. What if I bumped everything down and placed it on the white background instead? That way, no one will notice the part I didn't cut out. Perfect. Now my biggest decision is red or pink. I think I'm going to go with pink. To carry the marbled paper to the right side of the page, I'm going to cut a 1.5 by 10 inch strip and place it behind the wood grain paper. As I also mentioned, I want to place a heart in the bottom right hand corner of my photo. There's a distracting leaf in the picture and I want to cover it up. That's a great place for an embellishment cluster. I cut the heart from white cardstock to add some white space to the right hand side and to break up the patterns. I wasn't planning on adding any ink distressing to my layers, but the pieces aren't standing out enough. I'll use early espresso ink and add a little bit of distressing around the edges of my papers with my ink dauber. The resort we stayed at in Maya Riviera was huge, with cobblestone and wooden walkways all around. It was actually 4 separate resorts in one, with lots of restaurants and entertainment to choose from. We walked everywhere, with Evan taking the role as our navigator. He's always been really good with direction and would take us on different routes every day. On this night, after a quick supper, we came across the love tree. Evan insisted we pose under the hearts. So here we are enjoying that moment. It's fun to reminisce about the little moments we often forget, isn't it? I'm adding brown ink to the edges of the hearts as well, just to give them a little bit more definition. I also want to create more contrast around the photo. So looking at the light source in the picture, I noticed green tones from the large leafy plants lit up by the lights along the path. To highlight that, I want to introduce green to my layout. I'm using a very old retired die set from Stampin Up called Botanical Builder, and these leaves are perfect for the look I want. I have a piece of tone-on-tone garden green cardstock, and I'll cut out several leaves of each size so I can mix the dark and the light green for some added interest. Since I'm introducing green to my layout, I think it'll look more intentional if I add a green mat to the photo as well. This will help tie everything together. I love the hearts and green leaves, but I feel like something is missing. Flowers. So I'm going to bring in the Happy Hibiscus Stampin' Die set. This set is gorgeous. And there's also a hybrid embossing folder that comes with it, but I'll save that for a different layout. So I'm going to stamp a few flowers with you on camera and finish the rest off screen. So I have a piece of white cardstock already. This stamp actually stamps the outline and center of 3 flowers at once, but I'm just going to focus on the largest one for now. I'm applying rose red ink to the flower I want to use. This is a retired color, but I think it looks perfect on my layout. Cherry Cobbler would work well also. I place the stamp straight onto my paper. I'm going to hold it there for a couple minutes and perfect. Then I'll use the second stamp to fill in the flower, giving it this gorgeous two-toned effect. For the solid color, I'm using Strawberry Crush. This is also a retired color, but that's what I have, so I'm using it instead of Melon Mambo at this time. Isn't that just beautiful? I love how this turned out. I'll use the coordinating die to cut it all out. I've spent a lot of time moving flowers, leaves, and hearts around the layout, trying to figure out the best placement. I also stamped a few of the other 2 sizes of flowers to give myself more options. For the journaling, I printed it onto the heart on the lower right-hand corner of the photo. However, my printer printed it in green ink, but I actually like how it turned out, so I'm leaving it as is. While I was going through my stash, I found a sticker sheet. Again, I believe it's from Close to My Heart, with some beautiful tropical flowers and leaves on it. Plus, there is a sentiment here that reads, "So loving this." I decided to add that to the layout as well. I'm also showing you that I removed the sticky from all the stickers using my anti-static pouch. By doing this, my stickers become more like die cuts, and then I can easily move them around the page. I stamped the rest of my title onto the layout and attached the love so that the T from the tree is between the V and the E from love, and they are slightly overlapping. I added some pink splatters using my Wink of Stella brush and the strawberry slush ink. And again, I'm still spending a lot of time moving things around, the flowers, the leaves, and the hearts on my layout. For some extra dimension, I attached some of the embellishments with foam dots, which really help give the layout layers and interest. I created 3 clusters, one large cluster that touches the left side of the photo and moves up the circle, then smaller ones near the journaling spot and the title. I usually add items in groups of 3, but I liked the look of having 2 hearts in each cluster. To tie in with the gold accents in my paper, I added a touch of gold using these adhesive-backed gold sequins that are also part of the suite. They are little hearts. I thought they would add some fun to the layout. I placed them in 3s around each cluster. There are definitely more embellishments than I usually add, but I'm really happy with how this is turning out. And just for a little extra sparkle, I'm going to use the Wink of Stella brush and add some shine to the centers of the flowers that I stamped. I have this scrap piece of ribbon I want to add to the layout. So using glue dots, I'm going to tuck it under some of these stamped hibiscus flowers. This will help bring some of that brown color to the other side of the layout, creating more balance. So that's it for today. I really appreciate you being here with me. And don't forget, this is a collaboration with the Crafty Hearts team. Amy's video was released yesterday, and stay tuned for more videos from the rest of the team this week. As soon as they are available, I'll link them in the description box below, along with all the items I've used to create this layout. I hope this layout has inspired you to get crafting in your own space. If you have any questions or you just want to share your thoughts on my layout, I'd love to hear from you. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to share it with a friend. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future layouts. I release a new video every week. And don't forget to check out my Instagram for still shots of this layout. Thanks again for stopping by, and here is a video that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. See you in the next one. Bye!